if you told me Chase Elliott was going to be a NASCAR Cup Series champion. What is he, 24, 25 years old?
Yeah, he's just about turned 25.
And he's a champion before Denny Hamlin. Man, Denny Hamlin pissed himself another championship away right there.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Stock Car Spectacle. I'm Ian Jortson.
I'm Mike Gamble.
And I'm Nick Kinzel.
And we had an exciting weekend at Phoenix Raceway to close out the NASCAR season. We crowned a champion in the Truck Series, Xfinity Series, and Cup Series. All were memorable races, but before we dig into all of that, let's start off with our diecasts of the week. Mike, what'd you bring for us, brother?
All right, so this is the closest thing I could do to pay any kind of tribute to Jimmy Johnson. So, back when Batman vs. Superman, the movie, was coming out, he ran a Superman car when Dale Jr. ran the Batman car to promote the movie. So I actually got my hands on the Batman car at Chicagoland Speedway a couple years ago for $20.
Ooh, that's a steal.
Yeah, I think it's a really great looking race car. So, again, I don't really own any Jimmy Johnson stuff. Obviously, I wasn't a big fan of his, even though I do respect everything he's ever done. Just not my cup of tea. So that's the closest thing I could do as a tribute to Jimmy. So,
yeah, I only got 164s for Jimmy. I actually just pre-ordered his final ride. For the 124. I said, kind of screw it, because I got Junior's final ride, I got Tony's final ride, so might as well add Jimmy in there.
Yeah, not a bad idea.
Yeah, but that's a cool diecast. Yeah, I've always loved those Batman, Superman cars that Hendrick runs.
Oh, yeah. That was an absolute steal to get it outside the track. It was a year after Junior retired, so they're just trying to get rid of everything.
Yeah.
So it was like that, a sign that goes with it, which I have no idea where that is. I'd have to find it. I got like a big plastic car I gave to Nick's older brother, Michael, for his son, Danny. And there was something else that came with, too. It came with like 4 things for $20. It was crazy.
Okay, hell yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Nick, what'd you bring?
Well, I really wish I didn't play my Chase Elliott Nationwide Championship car last week. So I don't really have a 124th diecast of the week this year, but I will bring out what I got a couple of years ago for the 2012 champion, Brad Keselowski. This I got this when I was like 13 years old. This thing like opens up, and that's where the diecast came out from. So it was pretty cool. And then of course the little Blue Deuce, my favorite race car of all time probably, and it's got the NASCAR Sprint Cup Championship on it. I wish Brad would have gotten it done on Sunday, but came in second. But yep, still gonna pay homage to the Blue Deuce.
Hell yeah.
Nick getting something that looks like a beer can at 13, just right on brand. Perfect.
Pretty much, yeah. And started young. That's what they say.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, that's my favorite Brad paint scheme, with the beer pouring on the side of the car. Oh yeah. Man.
First time I saw this thing was at Chicagoland Speedway. Trevor wasn't driving full time. I was like, that guy's cool. He's got gold tires and he's got beer on the side of his car. Let's go. You're a 12-year-old kid. You're like, oh, that's badass. So always had respect for Brad after that. I have a 2012 championship shirt that, again, is a size small, so it'd be a crop top on me if I tried to put it on.
You got to wear that at Dega.
Yeah.
What you got for us, brother?
So for my diecast of the week, well, we all know 2020 has been a crazy year, and NASCAR was the first sport to come back. So for this season, I have to bring out Kevin Harvick's Darlington win from this year, from when he won the first race back from the pandemic break. It's the Your Face Here cards, where they were kind of promoting where you can put your face on Kevin Harvick's car, and got some nice scuffs on here, obviously, from running at Darlington. So really cool diecast. It was cool to see my boy win it, the first race back from this pandemic break. So yeah, got a little gem right here.
Yeah, watching Kevin Harvick win the first race back was a real dandy for everybody.
All right, guys. So now let's get into this championship weekend. We started off with the Truck Series. So we had Mr. Grant Enfinger on the pole, and we had Zane Smith showing lots of speed early in this race. He went on to win stage 1. Brett Moffitt, he went on to win stage 2. And then leading with 3 to go, Brett Moffitt, this is not what he wanted. They get a caution for the 41 spinning out, and it brings us to NASCAR overtime. The field pits. Brett Moffitt and Grant Enfinger stay out. And then as they restart, Sheldon Creed comes from 9th place because that team pitted. He goes and outruns the leaders. Moffitt drops back because he's got those old tires. And Sheldon Creed is able to hold off his teammate Zane Smith to win the 2020 Truck Series Championship. Guys, let's first talk about Brett Moffitt. The team told him that he was screwed if he was not going to come in and pit. And he did not. And then he goes and blames his entire crew for what happened.
That's what I don't like. I do believe Brett Moffitt kind of got screwed out of a championship, but after those remarks that he made after the race, I'm kind of glad he didn't win the championship, because no matter what happens, that team is out there busting ass for you every single week, trying to give you the best truck that they can, and go on and blame your championship loss on them. Sorry, I just ain't having it right there. So I'm glad he didn't win the championship because of that, because you never throw your team under the bus, and it's really looking like Brett Moffitt's not going to be back at GMS next year. I mean, look at GMS's Twitter. They don't even have him included anymore. They took him out. So very, very evident he's not going to be back. And that's what I kind of don't like about Brett Moffitt. He's always been that kind of guy, and I think that's what's kind of hurting him from moving up to a different series. I think he's going to be a truck driver, because what team wants to sign a guy like this?
Johnny Sauter in the making.
Yeah, honestly, we got a Johnny Jr., but I think he got screwed out of a championship with that late race caution for a back burner car, but in the end, I think the true champion won in Sheldon Creed. He's the best car all season.
Yeah, especially when it comes to the Moffitt stuff, I have to agree 100%. You guys know, again, I follow the Truck Series pretty closely, and I've never been very high on Brett Moffitt, and this is kind of why. Not quite to this extent before that we've heard publicly, but there's been rumblings about making comments and stuff like this in the past before. Corey LaJoie's kind of alluded to it on his Sunday Money podcast a couple times when he did get opportunities in the Cup Series, start in the back and maybe try to make his name for himself. He thought he was a little too cool or too big for those kind of britches, or however you want to put it, and that's why he is where he is. He's had some opportunities there. He's burnt some bridges, I should say, and you can definitely say he burnt a bridge here at GMS. What we're talking about now, him being a career Truck Series driver. I just want to know, if you were an owner after you hear comments like this, what would you take a chance or take a flyer on a guy like Brett Moffitt? Another thing we know about him too is he's not always been very great in the sponsorship money category as well. So no money, bad attitude. I'm not taking a chance on a guy like this. Somebody will, because talent does end up trumping all in a lot of different ways. But I'll tell you one guy who wouldn't be doing that'd be me if I was an owner. So.
Right. Yeah, no kidding. I mean, this guy, we know that he doesn't have a job for next year, and he's going out there and blaming guys that were telling him basically what to do. And it's just not a good look. Yeah, like Mike, like you said, who's going to want to hire this guy after he goes and tells off his whole team for a mistake that he basically made? I don't know. I used to like the guy, but after seeing all this stuff that he's been pulling, thinking that he's a big shot, I don't know.
Listen, I don't even care that it was his mistake. It was the team's mistake. I don't care whose mistake it actually was, who at the end was at fault. You don't do that. You win as a team, you lose as a team. I'm sure there's been plenty of races where they've had pretty good strategy calls going. Then, he overdrives a corner and ends up in the wall or does something outside of what they want to. It's not just a one-way street with this kind of stuff as a season plays out. I'm sure his crew chief was in the media, mother effing him and throwing him under the bus left and right. I don't know why he thinks it's okay to do it now.
Right. Yeah, he's talented, but he's just kind of a dick. I'm sorry, but it is what it is. How far is that talent going to take him? Obviously, it's not taking him very far because the guy can't land sponsorship to save his life. So it'll be interesting to see where Brett Moffitt winds up next year, if he winds up next year. But we'll just have to see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, how about Sheldon Creed getting 5 wins this year, getting the Truck Series championship? He really worked his nuts off to get this one. He got that win at Kentucky, and then he won at the Daytona Road Course. Ended up winning at Texas to get his way into the Final Four, and then he won it all at Phoenix. Guys, this guy is going to be a force to be reckoned with in NASCAR. We can already see that he is showing lots of talent. So yeah, we crowned a true champion on Friday night with the Truck Series for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, the future looks bright for him. I think still a little too early to say that he's going to be a force to be reckoned with for years and years. I'd like to see him have another really good year to kind of solidify the point. But with that being said, he's definitely on his way. Ian, you talked about it last week on a couple of our shows. He was a relative nobody in this series a couple of years ago till now. And now, look, he's one of the top guys, if not the top guy in the Truck Series. He's your most recent champion. And I think we have every reason to believe that, he will be there for years and years to come until he decides to move up to the next level.
Right. So when we did the Kinsel's Classroom show, I said the way Sheldon Creed wins this championship, if he doesn't, the only way he loses it, if he loses it for himself. Man, I thought restarting eighth, I was like, oh, come on, man. He just had the fastest truck all night. There was no denying that. And he didn't lose it for himself. He wasn't overly aggressive. He was when he needed to be. And yeah, he was the true champion. He deserved that 100%. And just to come from eighth to the lead in 2 laps just really shows how fast that he was. And the future for GMS was looking bright with Sheldon Creed and then Zane Smith. Zane Smith had a hell of a year. He came up just short, came up second in the playoffs. So both of those two men they're looking good going forward. It's going to be an exciting year for that team next year.
Absolutely. All right, guys. So now let's get into the Xfinity Series. We had Justin Allgaier winning the pole. And then we had Briscoe and Cindric having a fierce battle in stage 1, but Briscoe was able to beat out Cindric by a foot or so to win stage 1. Austin Cindric showed that he was the class of the field by winning stage 2. And craziness here. We had a caution with 3 to go. We saw this race was not really working out well for Chase Briscoe. He went and spun in turns 3 and 4. And then same thing as the truck race. Caution with 3 to go. We had quite a few cars come to pit road with Cindric. Allgaier and Chastain chose to stay out, so they were starting the field in the lead. And then we had Noah Gragson giving the playoff boys a run for their money here. He was battling for the lead in NASCAR overtime, but Cindric was able to get past Allgaier and get past Gragson, win the race, and win the 2020 Xfinity Series championship. There's no denying that Cindric did deserve this championship. Yeah, you may say Chase Briscoe was the class of the field this year, but Cindric, he got hot at the right times in these playoffs. He looked really well. He finally won on an oval this year. He won 3 times. Kentucky winning those 2 races and then winning Texas. So definitely deserved. Crazy to see. Crazy to say that we can call Austin Cindric the Xfinity Series champion because we were just talking shit about this guy at the start of the season
and the year before too.
Yeah.
So I'll just say this. So I thought the battle at the end of the race for most of this race was really good, especially at the end of the race there. I really didn't care for what the 10 did at the end of the race there. He stayed out once up. Who do you put like a real monster block? Was it Allgaier? I think he put like a monster block on somebody in the last couple laps. Like, listen.
Well, those guys have a history.
Ross Chastain, man, that's it. That's his middle name right there.
I get it. You're racing for, you're racing out there just like everybody else. You're racing for a win. But have a little bit of awareness, have a little bit of respect for the championship battle. I mean, from what I remember, if it was All Guy, which I'm pretty sure it was, he had a pretty big run on the outside and had to check up tremendously because of the 10 there. I didn't think that was very respectful racing given the circumstance of everything. But you know what? That's the way it goes. Like you said, Ian, Austin Cindric, if it wasn't going to be Chase Briscoe to win a championship, he was probably the guy that deserved it the most. Went out there and had a phenomenal race, was the class of the field for a lot of the race. And he's going to get a chance, as we know, to come back and try to go back-to-back next year. So good to see.
Right. Couple of disappointing things. The speed of the 98 just wasn't there all day. He had it early on, stage one, and then after that, he just kind of struggled the rest of the race. That's kind of disappointing to see, but all in all, he didn't win the championship, but he still had a hell of a year, 9 wins. He's going up to the Cup Series next year. Future's bright for Chase Briscoe, and the future's bright for Austin Cindric as well. A very deserving championship for this kid. Yeah, like you said earlier this year, we were just talking mad about him left and right. Like, he can't win at ovals. He can't do this. Well, he shut us up, got the job done. Congrats to Austin Cindric. Wish he wasn't taking over Dibby's ride in 2022, but I guess I'm going to have to let that slide.
Yep. He has proved that he'll be ready for Cup in 2022 for sure. And now, guys, let's get into the Cup Series. We had Joey Logano winning the pole, and he also went on to win Stage 1, showing some early speed in that 22. Brad Keselowski made a turn 4 pass by Chase Elliott to go on to win Stage 2. And then we had Chase Elliott taking the lead with 43 to go, passing by Joey Logano, and he holds on, hoping and praying for this race to go green, and he went on to win his first ever NASCAR Cup Series championship. Guys, it's absolutely insane. We saw when this kid started, he struggled really bad, didn't get a win up until he got into that 9 car, and now he's just been killing it. Had a amazing year with 5 wins. This kid is really going to be something. It's just crazy to say that Chase Elliott is a NASCAR Cup Series champion. Mike, I want you to talk first since you're wearing that Hooters hat. Bud.
All right, yeah. Freshly signed by the man himself last year at the Brickyard. Yeah, how cool is this, guys? I mean, not only is this a huge win for Chase Elliott fans, but just a win for NASCAR. You've got the guy that's holding the keys to the future of the sport. He's the one holding the flag, leading the next generation of NASCAR drivers and NASCAR superstars. The guys that are going to be the next generation of your Tony Stewart, your Kevin Harvicks, those guys. To see him win in a time like this where we really could use, an uptick in popularity, attendance, viewership, all that stuff, especially after the COVID stuff too, it almost feels like a reward for that as well. How cool is this, man?
Yeah, it's just crazy. A couple things about this. One, if you told me Chase Elliott was going to be a NASCAR Cup Series champion, what is he, 24, 25 years old?
Yeah, he's just about 25.
And he's a champion before Denny Hamlin. Man, Denny Hamlin pissed himself another championship away right there. That car just had 0 speed all day. He was never up there. Really disappointing. But yeah, Chase Elliott, he just did what he had to do. He won 3 crucial races in these playoffs. He won the Charlotte Roval. He won Martinsville when he had to, and he goes on to win the championship. Just unbelievable. And what's also unbelievable is that Kevin Harvick was nowhere to be found in this race at all. So
they gave up.
They just gave up. I was going to say, good thing he wasn't in the championship for. Jesus. He was running like 17th most of that race.
I feel like he would have more motivation if he was in it, but that's for another time.
But
we don't need to rile me up right now.
But yeah, he didn't look good. But yeah, Chase Elliott, he was arguably a top 4 driver all season long. So I think the championship was more than deserved. He was really good in the regular season. He was consistently running in the top 4. Him and Alan Gustafson might have pissed away a couple wins that they should have had. So yeah, Chase could be right up there with them boys, and he just went out there and he had an absolute rocket. Started in the back. He was already up into like 13th place before the end of stage 1, into the top 10 before the end of stage 1. And once that car got the lead, it was game over. Nobody was catching him. So just like Mike said, I think this is really good for the sport. And yeah, it's cool to see. Congrats to Chase. Yeah.
Yeah, he was really clutch in these NASCAR playoffs. We saw him, yeah, like you said, he got that drastic win at Martinsville to get himself into these Final Four, and then he was just beyond perfect at Phoenix on Sunday. Had to start in the back and just moved his way up to the front. So congratulations, Chase Elliott. Congrats to the Elliott fan base because this is just huge.
I was really hoping Brad Keselowski was going to get that. I was really hoping he was going to get
me
up
too.
there.
I wanted to see Drunk Brad 2.0, buddy.
Man, he was close and he just didn't have enough time. I wish Joey Logano would have done what he said he would have done. He said he was going to wreck somebody and bring out a caution. I wish he would have done that. Man, could you imagine Chase Elliott fan base if Joey Logano actually went up and wrecked somebody to bring out the caution and Chase Elliott lost the championship? Oh my goodness. I think NASCAR Twitter would still be on fire, and it's Wednesday now. They still wouldn't have calmed down from that. So
no.
good on Joey. Good on Joey for not doing that, but I kind of expected more out of that 22 car as well. He was up there early. And then he just did not have the speed at the end either. Nobody had the speed that Chase Elliott had in that race. They just, I swear they put jet fuel in that car or something because that boy took off, was a damn piss missile out there. Congrats.
Well, I'll say this, though, too. Even with that being said, there was a lot of this race where the championship 4 were running 1, 2, 3, 4, and at least 3 of those 4 within like a second or a second and a half of each other. So it's never like they got like, yeah, obviously they weren't running, side by side, 3 wide through the turns or anything like that. But at the same time, it wasn't like, they were just way spread out or anything like that. They were all relatively close for a lot of the race. And for me, that made it really entertaining. There was a lot of the times where Joey was the better car. Brad had a little resurgence in the middle of the race there where he surged up there. The only one that to me that really never had the pace with the other 3 was Denny, which is weird because I felt like after last year, he just came out and just got it done. But you know what? Like we said, again, kudos to Chase. Not only does he win his first championship, wins in one hell of a race. Really fun one to watch, I thought, all the way through. It was another race. You didn't need a lot of cautions for it to be entertaining, which is always nice when the racing speaks for itself like that. And, what a way to cap off a crazy 2020.
I just can't believe it's over.
I know. I felt like it went by so fast ever since we got back from the COVID.
3 months of depressed Nick is coming now because I got a damn thing to do. But it's just gonna suck. But yeah, I think for the Cup Series, I think this is a really good championship board because, like Mike said, all 4 of them were up there. Granted, Denny was just kind of doing Denny things. He wasn't. Never once did I really see Denny Hamlin have a car that can go contend for the lead. He was just kind of stuck. But
he did his normal choking in the Final Four.
Yeah, lost me a lot of money too, so I'm not very happy.
Hey,
about
you still
that.
won a lot of money, so you're okay.
I could have been up $700 if Denny Hamlin would have gone up there and at least just finished second. I think the FedEx hat was cursed because every time I put it on, Denny Hamlin just didn't do shit. It's like he forgot how to drive a race car. But no, it was a good championship for us. A good championship weekend. Really all weekend, minus Justin Haley in the Xfinity Series. All of the championship contenders were running where they needed to, running up front, almost like a 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, minus Justin Haley because that car was shit.
And it just proved because he was running like 8th basically the entire race compared to the other championship 3. So, yeah, we all know that he did not deserve a spot in that Final Four there.
But, last thing I'll say is Phoenix championship weekend definitely worked. I was kind of skeptical about it before, like when it was just first announced, but it delivered. I thought all 3 races were fantastic.
Yep. Yeah, it was an absolutely perfect championship weekend, guys. And to cap it all off, Jimmy Johnson ended his career this weekend, and he finished 5th in his final start. Just absolutely incredible. We've seen this guy struggle ever since he got that win at Dover in 2017. And fantastic way to end his career with getting that P5 finish.
Yeah, and they had a really, really special moment with him and Chase where they had their cars facing the other direction and came on. They like high-fived or shook hands or whatever. Just
Passing the
really,
torch.
or yelled at each other, whatever they did. Yeah, it was really cool. That's exactly what it was. Very symbolic of the passing of the torch to who is the main man at Hendrick Motorsports now, and very appropriate. And Jimmy's leaving it off in great hands and Chase too. So, yeah, again, I'm not a big Jimmy guy for a lot of different reasons. A couple of them being kind of personal and stuff that don't really have anything to do with Jimmy Johnson. My best friend being an obnoxious fan that thinks, rooting for Jimmy Johnson makes him a better fan than other people because his driver's the best driver. But that's neither here nor there. But I was a little more emotional watching his last race than I ever imagined. My whole thing kind of coming in was, well, everything ends is what it is. But I was like, damn, we're not going to see Jimmy anymore now.
Well,
Same thing with Boyer.
Did you remember anything of that race? Because you had quite the night.
I remember the race. I remember the whole race. Things happening an hour or so after the race are a little fuzzy, but that's neither here nor there.
Right.
So
Yeah, but that's the end of Jimmy Johnson's full-time NASCAR Cup Series career. I'm sure he'll be back doing something. He'll do like one ride or something. Maybe he'll come back for a 500 or an Xfinity stint like Junior has. But he's going to the IndyCar Series. He's going to be running what? He's going to be running a full-time road course schedule.
As far as I know, and if I remember correctly, I believe he still has an open offer to do the 500 if he so chooses. Now, I don't know if that's been decided upon whether or not he's going to. So, but yeah, he's going to run all of the Indy road course races, which is most of the season, barring, I think, maybe like 4 to 5 races. So
I just think if you're going to do a stint in IndyCar, you have to do the Indy 500. Why would you not want? If you're going to do one oval race, why not make it that one?
Yeah, exactly. I really understand not doing some of the races there. Like the Texas race is pretty dangerous. They've got a couple other ones that are a little crazy. I think they're going to Richmond next year too, which is going to be nuts.
Oh,
but yeah, I mean, when you think of IndyCar, there's nothing more iconic with that sport, with auto racing in America, than the Indy 500. We can argue whether or not it's bigger than the Daytona 500. I would say probably most fans would agree that the Indy 500 is. So if you get a chance to run in that race, like, come on. I think you almost have to try to go for it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It was just so weird seeing Jimmy Johnson a day after his NASCAR career ended, seeing him in Chip Ganassi, IndyCar gear. I was just like, what the hell?
Things are changing, man. 2020.
It's like one of those things where like you're playing like Madden or something on Xbox and you make a trade that would never happen and you see somebody in a jersey, you're like, that looks so weird.
It
looked exactly weird. What that feeling was like. Yeah.
And just those first couple of races in next season, just not seeing Jimmy Johnson at the racetrack. I got into NASCAR pretty late, I'd say around 2011. So the 5 championships in a row that just come to an end. Thank God I got to miss out on that one, but Jimmy was still Jimmy. From when I started watching, he was still up front winning those races. And then just after that Dover race in 2017, just kind of fell apart. But I will admit, it's going to be weird not seeing him at the racetrack. And it's going to be weird seeing Alex Bowman drive a 48 car. Somebody else driving a 48 car not named Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah, no kidding. And, guys, we also say goodbye to Clint Boyer driving full-time in the Cup Series. Love him or hate him, you got to admit that he has the most energy in the NASCAR world. But we're not going to be saying goodbye because he will be going to the Fox Sports booth. He's going to be up there with Mike Joy and his best friend, Jeff Gordon. Holy crap, we are not prepared for this, guys. Clint Boyer calling the Daytona 500. Woo!
I can't wait for it because I've been so critical on Fox broadcast because it just kind of wants to put me to sleep with Mike and Jeff going at it. So putting Clint Boyer in there, boost of energy. I said it last week. If there's anybody I can have a beer with in this world, it'd be Clint Boyer. That dude is just one hell of a time, one hell of a party. I want to miss him driving a race car, but now we just get to hear all the funny he's got to say on the broadcast. So I look forward to that.
Yeah, I just hope Fox doesn't try to put a leash on him and kind of, rein him in and not let him be himself. I mean, I think Clint Boyer's personality is one of the best things going for NASCAR in a lot of different ways. I think as far as marketability and, bringing in new fans and just casual fans, I think there are people that will tune in just to listen to what he's going to have to say on these races, especially old fans that maybe aren't watching, or somebody happens to watch it for the first time and hears how crazy he is. That's the kind of stuff that gets your interest in the sport. And the next thing you know, you're in love with the sport and you can't stop watching week in and week out. So, yeah, really, really smart for not only Fox, but for NASCAR finding capacity to keep him around in. Because he's not one of those guys you want to see like a Carl Edwards where, just rides off into the sunset and we never see him again or hear from him again. Just really good to see that he's going to be around our sport and have a major impact and probably something he's going to be really good at.
Absolutely. I mean, we've seen him call a bunch of Xfinity races. I believe a few truck races as well. So he's shown that he's ready for the booth. But I just can't wait to see his interactions with Jeff Gordon, because we know those guys have a pretty funny history together. But guys, I think that will have to do it for our championship edition of the Stock Car Spectacle. It was one hell of a season. We're going to be going over the entire 2020 season next week with the Dega Infield Trailer Park boys. So I hope you guys are ready for that one, because it is going to be wild. It is probably going to be very, very long too. So
and a lot of censor buttons I feel is going to have to happen.
It might be an explicit version, because I don't know if I want to touch it with how much I know that Dalton and Dakota and Connor like to cuss it up.
Yeah, if you're watching this one with the kids, you might want to put them to bed next weekend, because kind of like Nick's rant on my first show ever with you guys after the Justin Haley win. It's about to get bowling shoe ugly, boys.
Yeah, no kidding. But yeah, so make sure you guys tune in next week for that. And then the week after that, we're going to be doing our second edition of the Stockies. Last year, we kind of put out our own categories and handed out a golden diecast to all the winners. So, guys, make sure you get ready for that one. So I think that will do it for us here at the Stock Car Spectacle. I'm Ian Jortson.
I'm Mike Gamble.
And I'm Nick Kinsel.
Guys, make sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure to check us out on all podcast platforms. Make sure to follow me, Nick, and Mike on Twitter and Instagram, along with the Stock Car Spectacle accounts. And make sure to follow our good buddy, Patrick Cotto, with the Cotto's Mojo. So that'll do it for us, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.